Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm your host, Keith, man of letters, here to bring you some knowledge, information, and hopefully, at the very least, a bit of entertainment. I hope you guys find yourselves in good company, good spirits, and good health tonight. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for being a part of the vibe. Thank you for everything. We have just a few chapters of the Colburn Bible left. And we left off with some laws and things like that. Now we're at the laws of Mifflin or Malfin or something like that. I think I forgot my water inside. Smurpadoo. Smurp. I did. I left my water inside. Shavit and Suan, you guys are always in here right away. I like it. Hey, give me a sec. I forgot my water inside. Let me get my water inside. Sorry about that. Sorry about the delay. Sea Fleet, how's it going, everybody? Come on in. Come one, come all. Come one, come all. Alright, howdy moon baby. Okay, shall we get this cracking? Let me check something real quick and then we'll hit it. Altrusion, you madman. Wait. Eight hours was all it took. That sound doesn't seem right. All right. Okay. Well, everyone, welcome to the culmination of the Emerald Tablets. Maybe we'll finish it tonight. Maybe we won't. Maybe we won't. But we will certainly give it the old college try, huh? What's up, Caleb? Okay, let's get into it. Let's start cracking this. Oh, we're on chapter 21, you guys. The laws of Malfin. Thank you guys for being here and thanks for chilling. And I hope you guys are drinking water and stretching and breathing that good air. I thought I had a J out here already rolled from last time. I didn't finish it, but it is nowhere to be found. Looks like the gnomes got it. Looks like the gnomes got it before we did. Bastard gnomes. All right, ladies and gents, well, we will begin without the J, I guess. Check, 1, 2, microphone check, 2, this is a test. This is a test, microphone check, 1, 2, 1, 2, this is a test, 1, 2, 1, 2, check. All right. Bummer, I swear we had it at one point. Did one of you guys take my J? Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. I say Black Coffee, what's up? Solar, what's up? You smoke an extra one for me, Solar? Thank you, I appreciate that. All right, let's go. Let's go. What happened to my music? No, that's not what we wanted. You wanted a little bit of that. There we go. That's not the same one I use. I'm trying to find the music for you guys in the background. Some screws going on. Background, Emerald, flutes for OBS. That's not flutes for OBS, is it? OBS flutes 2023. Well, I think this is it. All right, let's go. Chapter 21. The Laws of Malfine. May your souls be enlightened by the central light. May all you who assemble between the great pillars at the appointed times be cared for by the Supreme Spirit, as you care for his earthly affairs. May he keep you as you keep his laws. May you receive the grace of enlightenment from the center of the sacred circle, and may an eternal fountain open for you, from which your souls may drink and be refreshed. May you receive the gift of everlasting regeneration. These are the laws of the outsiders which you have to obey, and they can be justly added to those you have, for right recognizes no origin. They are in two parts, those which are to be wholly yours and those which govern you among the outsiders. If one whose position requires him to bear witness to a transaction give false evidence concerning it, so that an outsider is at a loss, he is to be bound and given over to the outsiders. If an outsider suffer loss, the one causing it is to be deprived of his rights and made to labor in the place of captivity, until the loss is made good and twice the amount has been paid to the council. He must not be reestablished in his rights. Only a man of good repute, having no interest in the things being judged, can witness it. Only a man of good repute, having no interest in the things being judged, can witness to it with immunity. If he accept a payment, his voice is not to be heard. No one who gambles or lends money, who buys to sell, or collects payments or taxes may sit in judgment. Neither may a man whose house is in turmoil or who has been condemned in judgment. No one may sit in judgment on a kinsman, a friend, or an enemy, unless no other judge can be found. No one may attend upon a judge in the absence of those who oppose him, so that he may gain favor. The words of a lying witness are to be disregarded unless otherwise proven. If voices be raised in anger before the seat of judgment, or anyone behave unseemingly, the matter is to be left until the morrow. When sitting in judgment, a judge must remember that it is more wicked for a rich man to steal than for a poor man, or for the well-born to act basely than for the lowly to act likewise. It is more wicked for the strong to strike unjustly than for the weak to do so. If anyone by boisterous behavior cause damage within the grounds of a man's dwelling place or injure anyone, he shall go to the place of captivity until the damage or injury is made good, and the same amount is to be paid to the council. Every landowner must have his land hedged in and if it is not hedged or the hedges are broken, he will have no claim for any damage caused there by strayed animals. But they must be driven out without hurt or harm. If anyone damage a hedge or fence, he will responsibly catch the flow, baby. If anyone damage any property or cause harm to an animal belonging to the outsiders, he will be handed over to them. If a man find a beast straying upon his land, he may seek and demand a payment in compensation for loss or damage. If anyone offend against the laws of the outsiders, he will be given over to them for judgment, under the laws of the outsiders. No one is to be given over to the outsiders until he has been heard by his own judges. If anyone is to be judged by the outsiders, a man from the council is to sit with him. If a man draw a weapon in assembly of people, he shall surrender the weapon to anyone who ranks above him. And if he refuses to do so, he shall be seized and brought before the judges for punishment. He may not recover the weapon except by payment of its value. If anyone threaten another with a weapon, it is to be taken from him and may not be recovered without payment of its value to the council. Men are entitled to the privacy of their wives, men to the privacy of men, and women to the privacy of women. A family is entitled to the privacy of a family. Anyone who commands another in his power to do a deed shall stand as though he did it himself. If in company with a man whom many come to take and slay or injure unlawfully, then draw your weapon in his defense. If anyone use the language of slaves in your presence, it is not sufficient to remain silent. If you do not rebuke him because he is powerful, then depart from his company. To do nothing is wrong, for men are told not to remain passive before the face of evil. The scandalmonger and scaremonger may both be delivered to the place of captivity to requite the harm done. If no harm is done, the liar is still a person without repute, and his punishment is that he will not be believed even when he speaks truthfully. Hypocrites are two-tongued, loathsome creatures who, like grass snakes, cannot be grasped in the hands. If any establish themselves as hypocrites, drive them out and let them afflict the outsiders. There are punishments prescribed for wrongdoing and much advice given to prevent it. Punishment is only acknowledgement of failure. Wrongdoing arises from failure to deal with weaknesses, failure in upbringing, failure in teaching, failure in establishing rules of conduct, and failure in discipline, whether imposed by self or others. When a man comes before the judges for punishment, they do more than half their duty when they condemn him. They should also inquire within themselves, wherein have the people failed with this man? Was he guided rightly or wrongly? And have we no responsibility towards him? Punishing a wrongdoer without seeking out the cause of his deeds is hypocritical justice. If a man walk in darkness and stumble into a pit, is he to blame? If a light guide falsely or be too feeble to keep men from stumbling, it is of no value. Therefore, if a brother fall into a pit by the wayside, the bearers of light cannot be guiltless. These things are recorded unto you, so that in the day of freedom you may not be without law. That day will come as surely as the sunrise. Never fear because your numbers diminish. One wise man is better than a pack of fools, and a stave of solid oak better than a pillar of reeds. The man who supplies weapons to another who uses them in a wrongful deed is not guiltless himself. If he knew their use, he is no less guilty. Anyone possessing things wrongfully taken is not without guilt, and if taken knowingly is no less guilty. One who is not yet a man in age cannot be equally guilty in robbery or violence, neither can a simpleton, a madman, or a woman. If anyone bind another unlawfully or cause anyone to lose his freedom, he shall requite the harm done and may be delivered to the place of captivity. Everyone has the right to solitude and privacy, and those who deny him it are not without guilt. If anyone destroy the hair of a woman, he must requite the harm to the limit of fullness. If anyone come upon a thief in his deed, or upon someone about an unlawful deed, and slay or injure him because of his resistance, no wrong is done. We will pause right there. Hold on. What happened? What's up, Seaflower? Alright, let's go. Are we still recording? Yes, we are. If he submit to capture and is slain or injured unlawfully, those who do the deed must bear the guilt. If a man come upon his wife in adultery and slay both, he has done no wrong. If a man come upon another dealing wrongfully with his son or his daughter or another child, and he slay him, he has done no wrong. If a man slay a thief in the night or one who seeks to injure him, he does no wrong. If a man find another with his wife behind bolted doors and slay the man, he has done no wrong. If he come upon them in a secret place and slay the man, he has done no wrong. If a man commit a deed unlawfully in lust so that he may be lawfully slain, he may be castrated instead. If a man lay his hands in any way upon a virgin without her consent, he is not guiltless. If two men quarrel and one bear insult with forbearance, the other must requite him for the insult. A brother, a father, or a son coming upon his kinswoman in adultery or behind bolted doors is to stand as though he were her husband. If a man slay another who provoked him in fair contest, he does so in self-defense. The guilt of a deed done while drunk is not lessened. If anyone become drunk so that he cannot stand upon a stool, he is not guiltless. If anyone destroy a tree belonging to the outsiders and not on common lands, he must requite the outsiders its value. If anyone destroy the tree of another, he will stand as though he stole it. The man who is betrothed to a woman coming upon her in fornication or behind bolted doors is to stand as though he were her husband. If he came upon her in a secret place, he is to stand as her husband. If anyone knowing a woman to be unchaste, permit a man to marry her, behaving her. If anyone knowing a woman to be unchaste, permit a man to marry her, behaving her to be chaste, he shall bear the guilt and may be called upon to requite the husband. At the trothing, a man must pledge the father of his betrothed, or the next of kin to her father, that he will maintain and protect her. The bride price is to be paid 7 days before the marriage, and it is to repay her father for bringing her up with all the womanly virtues. Marriage by deceit or force is not valid. It does not bind the victim, but binds the other in every way as though married. If a man marry a woman by deceit, he is not guiltless and must requite the wrong. If a man marry by force and she was a virgin, he is to stand as though there were no marriage, but the woman has all the rights of a wife against his possessions. A husband may punish his wife for these things, transgressing the law without being punished by the law. Talking freely with men while her husband is absent, cursing her husband or his house, cursing her own house, talking loudly so that her voice carries to the habitations of others, for slander and gossip, for lewdness or immodesty, for betraying him in her talk, for being slothful or neglecting his children. A wife is not wholly delivered into the hands of her husband, and he must provide all things for her well-being, and treat her with affection and consideration. The man must be tolerant of his wife's shortcomings and overlook her frailty as a woman. A man has a duty to see that an adulterous wife is dealt with. If a wife become mad or sick or injured, she cannot be put aside, even though she cannot be a wife to her husband. These things are the dispensations of life and must be borne together. You can tell if anyone was curious if this book was written, was forged or not recently. This sounds misogynistic as hell. This was definitely written in the BCs, or at least trying to give the tone to it. It's funny where it's like everything we come across we gotta take with a grain of salt. Some things are reading here and it's like, whoa, that's enlightening, and other things are reading here it's like, if you stumble upon your woman cheating on you, it should definitely be against the law to murder them both on the spot without trial, or even with trial, but let alone without trial. You know what I mean? Like, that's some straight up savagery. You know what I mean? So it's weird that the text would be like, truth, light, children of the light, forsake the material, focus on the spiritual, yada yada yada, and then in the next chapter be like, hey, but by the way, if your boo's cheating on you, by all means kill her and the dude she's sleeping with on the spot, no questions asked. You're not in the wrong. Not to mention there's literally nothing about men, like if men fool around, or you know, or saying if women talk too loud so where the neighbors can hear, she like can be reprimanded for that. Like, come on. So it's so weird. Like what's gonna happen in the future, where they'll read something about now. So like the year's 2023, and they'll read some spiritual text with like, damn, these guys had some really nice spiritual insights. And then they read the next chapter and read some shit like this, and they go, but on the other hand, my God, were they light years behind, because this shit is just on another savage level. Anywho, sorry for anyone who's like takes the Colburn Bible to heart deeply, because the Jewish book, spiritual book, there's some pretty savage passages in there. Same thing, like I forgot who it was, but there's a prophet of the Lord. He's literally got a direct line to God, and God's talking to him in the living room when they're just chatting away, just homies and shit. And a woman who cheated on her husband is being stoned to death by a group of men at the dude's doorstep, and she's banging on the door like, for the love of God, let me in. I think it's his wife, actually. And God's like, nah, don't open the door. Like that cheating asshole, like leave her outside, and she gets stoned to death on his porch while homeboy's talking to God. It's pretty savage. Again, I don't mean to offend anyone who takes that to heart. You know what I mean? I'm just making a note, just asterisks, like, hey, this noted. Bienvenido, wow, hey, Michael Fayazon, May 15th, 2040, Phoenix event. Yes, sir, Michael Faison. The Phoenix event, you got it. See, homeboy Faison knows what's up. I respect the culture in the West, but in the East, we find the nature of women to be different and more authentic than ladies of the West. Oh, shots fired. You hear that, Seaflower? Hey, Seaflower, You need to step up your game. No, I don't know. To be fair, both men and women of the East could be more authentic than both men and women of the West. Who knows? Who knows? I must have upset some people because we went from like 15 people watching to 5 after speaking out against the Old Testament. My bad. My bad. All right, anywho, shall we keep going? I've just been talking for like 5 minutes, running the recording at the same time. Let's see if we can go back to the... yeah, we'll go back to here. We left off where? But Nachiquitas. Yeah, the West is we've got some things we need to work out on the West. We definitely have some things we need to work out on the West. I definitely wouldn't blanket statement and say that women on the East are more authentic than women in the West. That seems a little too easy. It seems a little too easy. You know what I mean? I believe there's far more nuance in that than is given credit for. Anywho, let's keep going. Let me make sure I have. No man may know the nakedness of his sister. No man may lie with his wife except in a place of privacy. No one is to permit a madman or madwoman, a child or a simpleton to slay a beast, but a bird may be slain by a woman for food. The one who permits the deed is not guiltless. If the head is unclean, it will lead to blindness. If the garments worn are unclean, it will lead to madness. If the body is unclean, it will lead to sores and sickness. Eat to fill a third part of the stomach, drink to fill a third part and leave the rest empty. Eat only when hungry and drink only when thirsty. Always sit to eat, taking 2 meals each day and 3 on the 7th day. Do not overeat or oversleep, for body rust is not an unreal thing. There's a plane going overhead, hold on. The threshing place is not to be less than 50 paces from a habitation. A grave is not to be within 100 paces, a carcass yard within 100 paces, or a tannery within 200 paces. The midden is not to be within 50 paces and hogs within 30. The privy hole is to be within 20 paces and is to be screened and covered. No beast, except the dog, the cat, the horse, the cow, the goat, and the ass may come within the dwelling enclosure. The barn must not adjoin the dwelling. Corn for eating may be kept below ground, but corn for sowing must be kept above. Water should not be drunk under a roof without herbs. Roofs must not be thatched by bending the reeds under a lath, but by laying them straight over an underpinning. The middle and pillarmost should rise a third part above the crossbeam and either rest upon itself, or the outer posts should be pegged and not bound. Inner walls should be caulked with moss and not with grass or bark. The roof should lie down under the outer wall an arm's length, and the open work of the wall should not be left unplastered. The foundation should go down 2 cubits and rise 1. The door is to turn upon itself, either to the side or upward, and should not be hung. The wall hangings within should be of fiber or skin, overlay outside with wands of betham. Stones should not be pressed without heat, and their outer parts should be kept. The herb offerings must be burnt on each day when the sun does not show its face. Flour must not be used to purify sharpens metal. The offering log must be burnt at its hour. A man must teach his sons to swim, to ride, to hunt. The stranger is not to be denied a sleeping place and food at nightfall, but he may not remain during the day without labor. Any man who deals with metals shall be as a brother. Anyone may come before the high council for justice. In all assemblies, opinions will be given first by those of lower rank, so that their words are not influenced by those of more knowledgeable men. In the lands of the outsiders, you will abide by their law, but you will keep your own law within theirs. Where laws conflict, let conscious duty and the Holy Writ be your guide. This is not the end, but the remaining writing on 3 plates cannot be read. It is transcribed in meaning and not in a word. That is the end of the chapter. That one took us a long time too. Did I mess up a lot? Did I take a lot of breaks? How'd that one come out to be so long? 19, chapter 20, chapter 21. More sayings by judges, the last of the metal plates. We're almost... wait, what? Hold on. We're almost done with the book. The book of manuscripts is next, and that one looks really good. We're only a couple pages away from being finished with the book, y'all. Hold on, hold up a second. What's going on here? Time out. Do I not have the rest? Which book is this? The book of manuscripts ends at chapter 7, incorporating, compiled from the writings preserved by Amos, an Egyptian, Claudius Linus, a Roman, and Vitico, a Gaul. We're almost done with book 4, you guys. Well, let's look at the feminist movement after 50 years. Can you imagine 50 more? Maybe they know something more than we do. American women are a sad case. Sorry, just saying. Oh, shots fired. What's up, MCQ31? Well, my woman is a woman of the West, so... And she is quite the queen, I must say. So, like I said before, let's allow some room for nuance. You know, everyone's got their cross to bear. I just read somewhere that women in the Middle East, was it Iraq or something like that, can't even show their faces without we get their heads chopped off, but they show their faces in some countries out in the Middle East. Out further east, China, people can't even leave their houses without. There's a pure communist state. They've got AI cameras on their face to the point where they have social credit systems and they'll just roll over for it. You know what I mean? If there's one thing to say about America is it doesn't necessarily roll over. I like to see it. It's like a video game. Right, you have a video game and you have your tank character, you have your mage character, you have your warrior character, you have your assassin character. Yeah, the assassin's sneaky, but it has low damage. It can't take a beating. Your mage has high energy, high magic, but can't dish out any melee. You know, your tank can absorb a lot of damage, but it has no range and it has no mental power. It's all physical. You know what I mean? Every place has its strength, and as a result has its weakness. I wouldn't so much play the game of the West, women in the West are better than women in the East, or vice versa, or the men here are better than there, vice versa. Yeah, I definitely do not play that game for hopefully what I would assume are obvious reasons. Like why give the Archons more help in dividing ourselves up and bad-mouthing our brothers and sisters across the globe? We have enough to do, you know what I mean? We have enough battles going on. Why fight amongst ourselves? Even if it's something as seemingly harmless as saying women out west are subpar, you know what I mean? Anywho. Anyhow, Bob Roberts, we're reading the Colburn Bible. You stumbled into the Man of Letters Tavern, where we converse. But right now we're reading from the Colburn Bible. We're almost done. It's a text half written in ancient Egyptian, or Egyptian Coptic, I should say, and the other half written by Celtic Druids from around the 400 to 600 BC. And it's basically another Bible with lessons and laws and stories. We have stories of the Great Flood, the Great Deluge that mirror the Sumerians, mirror everyone. We have stories of the sword and the stone. There's basically another Bible, but written for whatever reason. There's a whole rabbit hole of information that talks about the ties between the Near East, ancient, or not even ancient, but like Phoenicia, and Greece, and Ireland, and the trade that went on, and the mixture of language, and the mixture of magic, and occult, and lore, and history. And some say that they even, that those are the ones who colonized Ireland. The names are similar, the dialect is similar, they share a lot of the same words, a lot of the same traditions. And this book, the Colburn Bible, that was found recently in the past 100 years, is specifically a book written half in Coptic, which is Egyptian. But Coptic is not hieroglyphic Egyptian, but it's like a cross between Greek and Egyptian, to where they could communicate with each other. It's a modernized version of ancient Egyptian, spoken in, like, during Athens and Greece and Sparta and in the Roman Empire times. Like the Gnostic Gospels, for example, where a lot of those were written in Gnostic, like ancient Egypt. I keep saying ancient. Ancient Egypt is like 2000 BC. We're not talking 2000 BC. We're talking like zero, like the year zero. Just as far away from ancients as we are from them today, you know what I mean? Anywho, the Colburn Bible is that. It's this Bible written by half Egyptian Coptic and half Druidic Irish, and this half that we're reading now is the Egyptian part, and we're almost done with it. So that's what you stumbled upon, Sir Bob Roberts. That's what you stumbled upon. Anywho, let us continue. We are almost finished. This chapter is pretty short. Let's hit it. Chapter 22. Salvaged fragments reconstructed. 1. If any who have joined in cause with you or become allies act treacherously, grant them no quarter. Deal with them in such a way that their fates will be an example restraining others from doing likewise. Never join cause with anyone proved treacherous or unreliable. If any hold the same belief as you and have suffered for it, they are your brothers. Those who fight for the betterments of mankind or suffer for it are your brothers. To surrender to the threats of those who demand you abandon your beliefs or ideals is something which must not be done. Any man who has fought with you in battle is bound with you in the tie of blood and becomes even as your own kin. Though you fight in the cause of truth and justice, be reluctant to commence the bloodshed and never do so with any other means, except cowardice or capitulation, lie open to your hand. If, however, you truly believe the foe will launch an attack, you are justified in getting in the first blow. You are answerable to your own soul. When battle is joined, you may slay the foe wherever you find him. Never acknowledge defeat and never submit meekly to domination. If the battle goes against you, withdraw to fight again. The live dog eats the dead bear. Never fight among yourselves, for such quarreling is worse than the bloodshed of battle. Differences and arguments among you are to be settled in an orderly and just manner, so that there is no severance or weakening among your people. You are the people of light, the law, and the book. In the place of captivity, men and women will be kept apart, for it is a place of requital and retribution. They will no longer be free, neither will they hold the rights of the free. They are to labor according to the judgment, but the labor of their hands is to be counted to them. Each one must be used to get the greatest benefits from their ability, and no one must be kept even one day over their requital. Oh, that was the end of the chapter. Whoops. See, chapter 22, done. We only have one more chapter left, you guys, and I think it's just as long as that last one. We should be done in like 10 minutes. You guys enjoying yourselves? I'm sorry, I feel bad. I guess I could have just read these ones by myself. They're not exactly riveting. So I'm on the fourth book of the Colburn Bible. The first three are already on my channel, the finished edited versions. Right now you're listening to me record the raw file into my software before the edits. That's why you hear the click. Lets me know when I make a mistake so I can go through, correct the mistake without listening to the entire file. Anywho, a trend of these books is the first half of the book is stories and mythology and lore, and you'll follow a character through their wild, fantastic adventures as they learn lessons and overcome obstacles, etc. And then the last few chapters of the book are the laws and the records, which is like, thou shalt do this and thou shalt not do that. If this, then that. The judges, and then like they talk to you about how the assembly should be assembled and who should be the judges and how should they judge and who should not be judges, and it's just a bunch of laws and records and shit like that. That's where we're at. So it's kind of dry. I'm sorry if it's not exactly that riveting, but I mean, I guess they wrote down everything, you know what I mean? They wrote down everything. So with that being said, let us go ahead and 2040? Yeah, 2040. I was mostly being cute, but that's definitely a thing. What about the world ending in 2040? Hey, someone fill in the homie about the world ending in 2040, the Phoenix events. Pretty arbitrary number there. To be fair, it's given completely without context, Bob. So while, Sir Bob, it is arbitrary, is that the word you used? Yes. It is not. Google wow, I can't talk. Google the Phoenix event on Google. I'm not saying, it was mostly just to catch your attention. Mission accomplished. I'm not saying it is or it isn't. It just was sending people down rabbit holes mostly. Are more partial to the 2000 or the 12,000 clock cycle periods. All right. Year of the rest begins in March. What's that mean? The year of rest begins in March 7th. I would like to know more about that, Solar. Pretty arbitrary number there, I know. All numbers are arbitrary. 12,000 year cycle. Are you talking about the Zodiac? Are you talking about the Zodiac, Sir Bob Roberts? That's funny because isn't Bob short for Robert, and your name is Bob Robert? It's like calling you Bob. It's like calling you Bob. All right, let's go. Let's record this last one, baby. We're almost done. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves. Did I start the recording? Chapter 24, the last of the metal plates. In the containers I have gathered together all the books given into my care, and have done all things I was instructed to do, and the work of my father is now complete. The metal will stand the test of age, and the cutting is the finest workmanship. The 5 great book boxes contain 132 scrolls and 5 ring-bound volumes. There are 62,483 words in the greater book of the Egyptians, and 81,626 words in the lesser book of the Egyptians, of which 8,911 are in the book of the trial of the great God, and 6,134 are in the sacred register, and 16,056 are in the book of establishment. Hold on, I think my son's coming out. Yes, baby love. Yeah. What's up, love? Valentine's popcorn? Hold on now. My son's bringing me some Valentine's. Oh, does it hurt your feet? He's all, I'm out of here. The Book of Magical Concoctions has 6,800. The Book of Magical Concoctions has 6,810 words, and this was the most difficult to remit, for it was a work of mystery and hidden things. The Book of Songs and the Book of Creation and Destruction were not worked under my hand, but they are well constituted and will not perish. The Book of Tribulation was beaten under my eye, and there are the books in the great book of the Sons of Fire which are not of my workmanship. I helped in part where the words were marked out, and I struck them. The Book of Secret Lore and the Book of Decrees are joined into the great book of the Sons of Fire, and they too are enabled to last forever. The metal is as our masters desired, made cunningly by the secret methods of our tribe, and it will never perish. The marks are cut so that when seen to the right of the light, they stand out clearly. The book boxes are of twin metal founded with strength and churned with great heat, so that there is no joints where the ends come together. When closed and sealed, water cannot enter. When you read these things in times ahead, think of us who made the metal so imperishable and cut the words on it with such care and heavy labor, using such skill that in the years of rest they have not been eaten off. Observe its brightness and wonder, for it will never tarnish. We are the sons of the Sons of Fire, men so called because fire was necessary to their metalworking. Today we name our sons over the fire and forge as they did, and each one of us belongs to the same fire. Read carefully the sacred words which are written and made Read carefully the sacred words which are written, and may they be a lodge mark to a greater life. I, Ifantigland, and my father attended to the making of these books and their covering containers, those who mixed the metal and worked it by forging, and those who mixed the metal and worked it by forging, and those who cut upon it are members of our tribe, and it is well made and will last forever. Maldwyn recorded these books before they were consigned to the future, and the name by which they were called is the Living Book for the Living. Blah. Sorry, I had a whole bunch of mistakes at the end there. Like sometimes I can read for like 5 minutes straight without making a mistake, and then just other times I'm just like, blah. I think I was getting antsy because the end of the book was there. That's the end of the book. So there's another book coming, but I'm cut off. It shows that there's 34 chapters in the next book, but I only get my version, my PDF only has 7 chapters, and the 7th one only has 1 paragraph. So something is happening, you guys. Something is happening. The Book of Manuscripts. Hold on. The Book of Colburn Bible, Book of Manuscript, Colburn Bible, Book of Manuscripts, PDF. Complete 855. Maybe that's why. Oh my god, this book is massive. This book is going to take us absolutely forever to finish. Hold on, y'all. I'm on 174. So the Book of Manuscripts, 174. Book of Manuscripts, 174. Let's see. Citation. All right, well, we finished book 4 of the Colburn Bible. We made it to the end. We got through the sacred registers and records. Man, that stuff was dry as hell, wasn't it? Sorry, there was really no way for me to spice that up. we just had to bear it. We had to just wear that baby. Except, you know, I just realized my son deleted I deleted the first 6 chapters of the book we just read. Unfortunately, we're going to have to redo those ones. It's a good hour or so of reading. Oh, we just made a sale on our Etsy page. What's up? What did we sell? We made a lot of sales today. I have Etsy shop, and I sell, at the moment, I'm just doing candles and frankincense trees, but we've been selling a lot of frankincense seeds these past couple of days. I'm not sure what's going on, but we've been killing it. And I share your thoughts about the Colburn Bible. Len K, I'm not sure what thoughts you're talking about exactly. The one about murdering your woman if she cheats on you. The sabbatical year. You have polar field excursions, mass die-offs, kite shooting fields, all falling in at roughly 12,000 cycles in geologic record. Yeah, Bob Roberts, I feel you. Bobbert Robs. Yeah. So are you hip with like the Younger Dryas and whatnot? I've heard description of the Younger Dryas and what happened, and I've seen the evidence for these massive floods and waves that would have been miles high just 12,000 years ago, and that shit blows me away. You know what's wild is I have dreams all the time since I was a kid of massive catastrophes described exactly as it is in the Younger Dryas. Like the last one I had, the last 2, so not the last one, but the one before last, the end of the world dream I had. I was on this tower. There's the edge of the ocean, and I was at a tower, a super high tower, maybe like 15 stories high. It was, or maybe higher, 20, 30 stories high. It was a pretty big tower, and that was the only tower as far as you could see was just land. And we were maybe a mile from the coast, mountains, and the earth starts fissuring like a giant earthquake. Starts fissuring the earth, and lava like blood like lava like blood pours out of the crevasses created from this massive earthquake. And from the mountainside, not even from the ocean side, from the mountainside, a massive tidal wave is just screaming towards me, and like the ground is cracking, and there's me and like a dozen people, and it looked like the Seattle Needle is what we were in, is what it looked like. And then I wake up. Oh man, it was freaking terrifying. And the last one I had was kind of the same thing. It was a massive tidal wave coming from the ocean. I'm on the seashore, and we're all looking like we're done. We're just gonna die. There's not even, why even try to run away? And to my right, there's a massive tornado, just a huge storm. And this tornado was, you couldn't even see the end of it. It was so big. It was just this stupid big tornado screaming towards the fucking coast as this massive tidal wave is just blocking the sun. It's so high. And when I started learning about those Younger Dryas things, I started thinking, wow, man, I wonder what, maybe I'm tapping into some kind of like genetic memory. You know, they're showing that memory gets passed through DNA. Maybe it's getting passed in the dreams, like the dream memory gets imprinted somewhere in the DNA, and it's like starts blasting your subconscious movie screen whenever you sleep. I don't know. 501c3po or some shit by the name of Die Hold Foundation. You're talking about the same name. All right, I'll check that out. What's his name? Doug. I'll check that out. Bob Roberts. Thank you for the tip. Thank you for the tip. Thank you for the tip. I just looked him up. Video series part 1. Shelby, what was our universe created and how it will end? Why was our universe created and how will it end? Jesus. Geological evidence for the 12,000 year cycle of climate disasters. God, this is going to give me nightmares. Is that what are you putting me down a nightmare path? The Die-Hold Foundation. All right. I got him up on YouTube. He's right here. I'm looking him in the face. Maybe we'll eat dinner and watch some end of the world stuff. Bucking Fastard. What's up, man? And the fall of 2046. That's funny. That's right where the next Phoenix event is being put. Well, 2040. Interesting. Does he give a way out? This is not AI music. This is lo-fi music. It could have been generated by AI, though. Who knows, man? That's actually interesting. It's super. It could be. Who knows? What do you guys think? You guys want to hear the first chapter of this last Colburn Bible since I'm going to have to redo it? What do y'all think? What do you think? What do you think? Should we do it? Should we do it? Should we do it? Should we do it? Chapter 6. Hiram. Oh, Annam. Dream about Annam last night. The Reconstruction chapter. The 4th book of the Bronze Book is what we just read. And it looks like I deleted. That's chapter 8. I deleted 1 through 7. I'm gonna have to re-record. How long is the first chapter? I guess we can do the first chapter right now, just to say we did something, just to give you guys something that's not laws and records for the ending. The Earth reversing rotation and creating massive tsunamis. All right, yeah. I don't know if you follow Graham Hancock, but mostly the dude he always shows up with, who's pretty famous but not as famous. What's his name? He talks about the same thing. Yeah, that the Earth's rotation stops, but the wind and oceans continue going. So you get like 1,000 mile an hour winds and massive tsunamis because the crust literally stops moving, but the Earth continues to spin or some shit like that. It's wild. But yeah, there's. So I'm hip with that, Bob Roberts. I'm with you. I've learned what he's talking about under other names, but I haven't heard his description of it. And there is a lot of evidence for that. It's all over the internet at the moment. Actually, if you guys have been watching Graham Hancock, like on Joe Rogan and things like that, they've been talking about exactly what you're talking about, Mr. Bob. Do you have a link where I can download the Colburn Bible? Yes, sir, I do. Yes, sir, I do. I'm reading from this link right here. The archive. That's the Colburn I'm reading from. I'm going to read chapter 1, you guys, because I have to. Yeah, because one must. Because one must. This is gonna be. It's December, though. I didn't do something in December, did I? OBS flutes? That's gotta be the one, right? Five. Media source 5. Monitor and output. Sorry. Setting up. Yeah, I had an argument with one of them. They were trying to claim a 200-meter sea level rise, which is impossible. Also, I had to point them to NOAA, which has a actual unedited map of sea level rise. Randall Carlson, there you go. You had an argument with Randall Carlson? Good night, Len K. Good night, good night. Well, let's run this real quick, you guys. Chapter 1, the Reconstructed chapter. We took refuge with the sons of Eteno, whose fathers had been in the land many generations, for they had come out of Egypt in the days of Pharaoh Nephohia. There on the borderland we dwelt in caves above Cathalim. We were without books or possessions, but we were diligent and labored to make the land fruitful. We knew ourselves as the brothers in light, but others called us the children of light, even as we are called to this day. This is a good and fertile land. It is wide. This is a good and fertile land. It is a wide land of flowing streams where wheat and barley increase 100-fold. Figs and pomegranates flourish here, and it is a land of olive groves and vineyards. All the needs of life are supplied with an overflowing bounty. It is a land where sheep and cattle multiply without fear, and a land where the sickle of famine never reaps. It is a land where even an effortless search is rewarded with the materials of copper, but it is not a manless land. We are not alone in this land and must live among people whose ways are not ours. They have gods with many names, and even now those beside the sea strive among themselves. For some say God is called Mamre, while others say he is called Ane. All about us men are in dispute, and the strife among them arises out of the bounty of the land. Gaining their livelihood with little effort, they have much time for argument and strife. We must build for these people a court of peace, the 4 pillars whereof shall be love, consideration, justice, and truth. The land of our fathers and our inheritance has been lost to us forever. Their homes have been returned to the sands, and their altars where they worshipped cast down. Their temples have been destroyed, and the forms of worship practiced are no longer known. The songs once sung are now mingled with the winds, and the voices of the singers are silent. The wisdom once revered has departed. The illuminating flame no longer burns, and the lamps lie broken in dust. The honored writings have been used for kindling, and the sacred vessels turned into vain ornaments. The very names held sacred by our fathers are now defiled and held to represent wickedness. Those who would have been our brothers are sold, and their leaders slain. Those who would have been our wives are violated and degraded in servitude. Therefore, brothers, it is time for the memory of these things was put aside and forgotten. What cause have we for sorrow? We are in bountiful land. We have hope for the future and an unshakable faith. Better by far than all else, we have with us the key to the ancient portal of communication. Our memories must replace the books and decrees of former times. Let us therefore be thankful for our blessings and diligently preserve the flame from which the lamps of truth will one day be relit. In days gone by you have had leaders to guide you, but before them were even greater leaders whom you have not known. The inspiration of their words is something that must never be lost. It must be preserved for all time. We must be like a man who has traveled far with a heavy burden. He rests and seeks among the things he carries to find what can be discarded, knowing he has still a long way to go. The choice you must make has to be made soon, for the years remaining to our Father cannot be plentiful. We must establish a community where men can live together and where they can enjoy the companionship of women. Men always benefit from united effort, but this is inseparable from necessary restrictions. Let the restrictions imposed be such that no man can feel resentment because of the restraints set upon him. Let the only ordinances and restrictions imposed be founded on the nature of man and upon spiritual and moral values. We must seek to assure freedom of every action for every man and woman, so long as it does not prejudice the equal rights of others. We must work for the benefit of the many, but in doing so, must not overlook the provision of rewards for those who serve best. The rewards must go to the men who are best in all ways, and not to the worst. We must see that good lives are rewarded and evil ones punished. We must place the greatest value on things spiritual, and no man must be unduly rich or unduly poor. We must provide for the sick and helpless, for the old and incapable. We must assure the integrity of the family. The first objective must be the spiritual goal, which is the only proper one for all men. After that, all instruction and law should be bent towards an increasingly harmonious relationship between every living being. The upbringing of children must have its objective, the attainment of well-balanced man and womanhood. We must make men high-minded and above all pettiness. They must be upright and rejoice in their manhood. They must possess courage and fortitude equal to any trial, for there will be many. They must be prepared to endure oppression and persecution with self-control and a calmness which no misfortune or calamity can shake. They must also be such men that good fortune and abundance does not weaken them. We must teach men to be quick in decision and deliberate in judgment, because in numbers we are like 2 grains of sand in the desert. We must seek converts diligently. We must be a guiding light before the eyes of all men, leading them along the paths of honest labor rather than power. We must teach men their duty towards others so that no man ever says, "Unless I place my own welfare first, no other will." We must seek out and accept suitable converts, and they must be particularly precious to us. We must hold them in high regard, not because they have accepted our beliefs. The good within them can be developed within their own, but because they assume willingly and cheerfully the great duties and obligations peculiar to us. We must always remain a brotherhood engaged in an organized quest for truth. We must ensure that the teachings we expound are valid everywhere and among all men as a code of goodness. If a brother become powerful, he must not glory in that power. If wise in his wisdom, or if rich in his riches. If a brother have to glory in something, then let it be in the fact that he is always the best of men. By this is not meant the victor in the earthly struggle, but he who best serves the purpose and good of all mankind. We found refuge in a place where men spoke our language, though now there are no more. The land of our fathers is denied to us, so we must seek another. For a man without a nation is more heavily afflicted than an orphan. Egypt was a land destined for greatness. Its people should have led all others toward the great light. Egypt failed in its destiny because those who were entrusted with power and position proved unworthy. Its kings, who should have reared families dedicated to goodness and inspiration, betrayed their trust to satisfy the weaknesses of men. The leaders to godhood were misled and became ensnared in the deserts of worldliness, and those who followed them were betrayed. The priesthood became corrupt when it offered a life of ease and abundance, instead of a life of service and austerity. The ideals of man were above reproach, but man himself was unworthy of them. We have no need to change ideals, but to attain them we must change men. The sacred lore of Egypt, enshrining the treasures of the ages, was possessed by only a select few who safeguarded it as nothing else has ever been safeguarded because of its greatness. Not only this, but even a little knowledge of it could be dangerous in the hands of any who sought to utilize it improperly. Of all desirable things attainable by man, the assurance of his immortality, clear insight into the purpose behind his creation, and true knowledge of the road towards the fulfillment of his destiny are the greatest. Those were the things so closely guarded. And just as they are the most desirable things on earth, so are they the most highly priced and difficult to attain. Religion records the efforts of men. Its doctrines and inspiration are the measure of its success or failure. The paragraphs just written replace some difficult to decipher and translate, but they preserve the essence of what was recorded so long ago. Much is too fragmentary for use, a great amount is therefore lost. There is one very applicable fragment which states, "Unless they would be open to mockery, revealers of light must possess more than a dim, smoky glimmer." Nice. So we just slammed chapter 1 to make up for us deleting the first 6 by accident. Now we gotta record the other 5 of the other 5. It wasn't random. Good night. A shift this spring, giving light and power to a few. I was the one that could make it rain, and there was. I'm reading your guys' comments. Nice. I will go rest. I did my 4 chapters tonight. Maybe I'll. Happy Valentine's if you guys are into that kind of thing. I know it's like sacrilegious to mention that name these days, but thank you guys for hanging out. If you guys want to support the channel, you can just subscribe, and we share a lot of things on this channel. I've been doing a lot of my audiobooks lately because they go the distance, and I'm really trying to grow the channel so we can upgrade out of our lovely, humble den here and get somewhere and get into a nice recording studio. And that way I can make my audiobooks at any time of the day and not just nighttime. But thank you guys for chilling and hanging out. Please subscribe to the channel if you want to support the cause. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out. John Milks, Bob Roberts, you are new. But thank you. Thank you for being here and chilling. Yes, John Milks, Bob, Solar Logos, all the wallflowers who are just in here vibing out. Thank you so much for the tip, John Milks. Thank you for so much of the support that you've been giving, John. Seriously, man. And the knowledge and information that you've been spreading with us. It means a lot, man. if there were only of our 16,000 subscribers, if there were only a few hundred of those that would help out, that would chip in $10 like that, even if all of them chipped in like 50 cents, man. But it's all good because we prevail nonetheless. Thank you guys for being here. Come back, Bob Roberts. Come back, man. I have Die Hold Foundation pulled up, so I'll do some deep diving into that. I've been on that route lately of ancient history and the great floods and the obvious catastrophes, however they came, or whatever the space between catastrophes is. There is massive amounts of evidence for highly advanced civilization spanning tens of thousands of years back. You'd be a fool to not be on that page now. So I really have been trying to deep dive into that. Thank you for that plug of the Die Hold Foundation, Bob, and everyone else. John, Wallflowers, thank you guys. I'll see you soon, okay?